If I choose next, I can select how do I want to handle the maintenance mode associated with powering off this machine, powering it back on. Do I want to change the VM power state as I put things into maintenance mode? If there's a failure, do I retry maintenance mode? Do I disable any removable media devices? This last piece down here is particularly important because if you have removable media devices, physical devices that are connected to virtual machines on the host, those connected media devices can actually prevent the virtual machines from being migrated elsewhere. So you could come back in the next morning and your hosts aren't patched because a VM couldn't get moved to another host. So disabling those removable media devices can be important because, well, you want to be able to migrate those off the host. Do I also want to enable patch remediation of powered on PXE-booted ESXi hosts? This checkbox here allows me to patch on things that may be deployed via auto-deploy. If I choose next, a couple other options here. Do I disable DPM? Do I disable admission control? Remember earlier that when we created our HA cluster, we actually reduced down the amount of protection that we have. We're not protecting 33% of our available resources. We're only protecting 20% of those resources. So during this maintenance event, perhaps maybe do we want to disable admission control for just that period of time? Do I also want to disable fault tolerance? Do I want to enable parallel remediation if it actually does not impact the processing of workloads in my cluster? Do I want to migrate powered off and suspended virtual machines as opposed to just the powered on virtual machines? And then also, do I want to generate a report? Once I've done with all of these tasks, I hit the finish button. This will create the task to actually go about remediating this host and applying whatever patches are necessary. So really, this is kind of what you need to know as it relates to this whole process of keeping your hosts updated. I've got my patch repository here. I can identify any notifications that I want if I want to check for various notifications from those hosts. Here are some ESXi images and software packages that may be imported in for Update Manager if I'm doing upgrades, for example. Do I have virtual appliance upgrades that I want to take a look at? Do I also want to adjust any configuration settings here as far as the network connectivity or download settings for the different types of patches? Do I want to use a shared repository so I only have to download patches once and then use them across the different vSphere environments that I might have? I can adjust my download schedules and my notification check schedules, and then any virtual machine settings and host settings as well. So all of these present a really rich environment for you to manage keeping the right patches on those hosts. And I should mention too that it's dangerously common in virtual environments for administrators to just kind of forget about the process of keeping those hosts updated. An ESXi host has the same sorts of potential vulnerabilities that a Windows host would. And so if you're spending a lot of time worrying about your Windows virtual machines and their patch state, but you don't actually involve all of the necessary patches for security or otherwise for your ESXi hosts, you may be creating a security problem for yourself. So be conscious about that and make sure that you do work with vCenter Update Manager and create those baselines, and always make sure that you're patching to those baselines so that you can keep your hosts secure. So what have we talked about in this nugget? We've talked about updating and profiling those ESXi hosts and all the different patching requirements that you have to have. We work with both the host profiles functionality as well as vCenter Update Manager to really give you an idea of how to manage the configuration of your hosts to protect them against misconfiguration or whatever problems may occur, as well as the update configuration of those hosts to ensure